the story is we're going to stop busting his balls for at least 75 minutes and talk about how Abyss really was one of the backbones of TNA. And
Wow.
I know that for a long time when people would come out and they would say, "Oh, AJ Styles is the face of TNA. He's the face that runs the place." Okay. I would argue that Abyss was the backbone of TNA. Like that entire company, almost from day one. I mean, he's there. I know that he was on the first show in Huntsville. I first saw his work. I think he was doing stuff with Bill Behrens when I saw him for the first time. I don't even think he was using the Abyss gimmick yet. But I just want to give him some flowers right here at the top of the show before we talk about everything from your perspective and everything that happened. As you know, Jeff, well, this is just my opinion. Maybe I shouldn't say as you know. I don't put words in your mouth. There's a lot of big guys in wrestling who think, well, my gimmick is I'm big. That's what I do. That's what makes my character special. I'm big. And there's nothing wrong with that, I guess, but there's no depth to that character. Like, after, okay, we get you're big, now what? Beyond that, where's the depth of that character? And the big men that really, I think, transcend guys like Vader, guys like The Undertaker, guys like Kane, guys that leave a lasting impression, who are also big men, they have that depth of character. And I want to give Chris Parks, the real life Mr. Parks, a lot of credit for making sure that the Abyss character, boy, it had depth of character. I mean, you guys did a lot with that character. And I know early on there was criticism because, oh, he wears a mask, so he's a Kane ripoff, as if Kane wasn't just doing a Lord Humongous. Like everything in wrestling is, it's a big guy wearing a mask. Where do the similarities? I mean, that's the end of the similarities. And I just think that he understood character maybe better than a lot of other folks who were big men in wrestling. What would you say to that?
Oh, Conrad, I can't promise that I won't dunk on him and have some fun for the next 75 minutes or give or take a few. But I will out of the gate be serious for a minute. And heck, I did it on last week's episode when I went, oh wow, we get to talk Abyss, and there's no way, I don't think so, that we'll get through. To me, Abyss is we won't. I don't think we're going to get through Abyss's entire TNA career.
No, we can't.
There is a lot of meat on the bone, and we could get into the ins and outs and my favorite moments, and my personal favorite top 5 moments, and Slammiversary 2017, and that match, and I mean I could, boy, you talk about getting granular today, and his stories with AJ and Sting and just different opponents coming in, and the creative rooms when he came out and producing stuff. And I'm telling you, many shows. I mean, one of my right hand men. But this may come as I don't know. I'll see what you think. But when I really tried to sit back and say, all right, what is kind of the sub headline of our topic here, coming from my world? And look, I think, and I've said it so many times, I really feel those TNA years, I was really, really blessed with, I mean, just the entire group. But I think if I have to pick one person, and look, I could go back and forth on this because, you know, Jeremy Borash, he got his start in WCW. So yes, he was a day one guy, but he had a career before WCW. And there's, others. And I think AJ, a success story, Joe, James Storm, Bobby Roode, Eric Young. There's a lot of different guys that I think that just rank right up there. And I know I'm not going to get anywhere close to the complete list, but if there's one guy that I think is an incredible success story, maybe the best success story, because look at where he's at right now. A guy that came in and really put his roots in and did nothing but produce week after week, year after year. I put Abyss at the very top of that. I know we like to have a lot of fun, but it'd be hard to argue who's been more successful in the wrestling industry for a longevity that at this point, there's no stopping it at what he's doing now. It could go on for years and years and years. But man, oh man, as we dig into these early years and how things progressed, I put him at the very top of the list of success stories of TNA wrestling.
Jeff, I wasn't there either, but as a fan watching, and again, I don't know anything about wrestling, but as a fan watching, I would think to myself, that's an unselfish performer. Would you agree with that?
Oh, see, and I'll give Dutch and myself and a few others that Abyss would kind of lean into. But at the end of the day, and me and Abyss have had, we've had a lot of late nights together and more fun than you could imagine. But we've had our bar time together, our car time together, and love to talk sports and the ins and outs and all that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, you got to give all the credit to Abyss, because you talk about a guy with an athletic mentality of being coachable. I mean, he is picture perfect at that, because it is the in the wrestler sense is that I'm going to go get as much feedback. And at times he probably drove Dutch and others crazy talking this and that. But at the end of the day, he wanted to be the very best Abyss he could be. So he would take all that feedback and he would then go away by himself. And this is why I think he's a fantastic producer, is that he cares, but he thinks things, he thinks things all the way through. And I think there's a real magic and a real gift at that, because it's real easy for a talent, a wrestler to go into a match or a promo or an angle and really dial in and think about yourself. Abyss had the ability to think, all right, let me think my part through. Let me think my opponent's part through. Let me think the referee's part through. You know what? Then I'm going to go, okay, this camera 2, 3, 4, 5, what shot they're going to take. All right, let me think about the guy running in. When he had the ability at an early stage that he did, I think at times he didn't even realize it, to think things through from not just himself, but the overall production. That is a gift that he dialed into. And so when I say unselfish, that you're spot on, because not only did he do his work, he attempted to contribute to everybody's responsibility. And that is the mark of a winner.
What would you do with 2 house payments? Tony Schiavone here to tell you about SaveWithConrad.com. When you refinance with Save with Conrad, you can do so with confidence, knowing not only will you get a great rate, but you will get to skip 2 house payments. You don't need perfect credit, and there's no money out of your pocket. Find out how we can help you skip 2 today at SaveWithConrad.com.
NMLS number 2129, Equal Housing Lender.
SaveWithConrad.com.